Tithing. This small word carries a lot of weight in the Christian faith and often sparks debate and uncertainty. Is it an outdated relic of the Old Testament or a timeless principle for believers today? Join me as we delve into the scriptures, seeking clarity and understanding on this often misinterpreted topic. Our journey begins with a fundamental truth. God desires our hearts. He longs for a relationship with us that goes beyond mere ritual or obligation. It is within this context of love and devotion that we must address the concept of tithing. Tithing, which means 1/10, has its roots in the Old Testament law, specifically within the Mosaic covenant. Leviticus chapter 27 verse 30 says, "A tithe of everything from the land, whether grain from the soil or fruit from the trees, belongs to the Lord. It is holy to the Lord." This commandment, given to the Israelites, had a practical purpose: to support the Levites, the priestly tribe dedicated to the service of the tabernacle and later the temple. The tithe ensured their livelihood, allowing them to focus on their sacred duties. Centuries later, Jesus walked the dusty roads of Palestine, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom. His message resonated with the common people, the poor, and the marginalized. Did his teachings abolish tithing? This question has been debated for centuries. In Matthew chapter 23 verse 23, Jesus rebukes the Pharisees for their hypocrisy, saying, "Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You give 1/10 of your spices, mint, dill, and cumin, but you have neglected the more important matters of the law: justice, mercy, and faithfulness." Jesus wasn't against the law, but he wanted its true purpose to be understood. Jesus, while upholding the law, emphasized the more important matters: justice, mercy, and faithfulness. His teaching was clear. The law was not an end in itself, but a means to achieve a righteous and godly life. He taught that true righteousness did not come from meticulous adherence to external rules, but from a heart transformed by love for God and neighbor. This love manifested itself in concrete actions of justice, mercy, and faithfulness, reflecting the true spirit of the law. Sowing and reaping, the spiritual principle of generosity. The Bible speaks of a spiritual principle, sowing and reaping. This principle is fundamental in Christian life and is mentioned in several passages of Scripture. Galatians chapter 6 verse 7 says, "Do not be deceived, God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows." This verse reminds us that our actions have consequences. Just as a farmer harvests the fruits of his labor, we also reap the fruits of our actions and decisions. This principle, although often applied to finances, extends to all areas of life. It's not just about money, but also about time, effort, and love. When we sow generosity, kindness, and love, we reap a blessing. These blessings can manifest in many ways, such as stronger relationships, inner peace, and a more united community. However, generosity is not a means to manipulate God or secure material wealth. We should not give with the expectation of receiving something in return. Our motivation should always be love for God and love for others. This selfless love is what truly matters and what God values. It is in this spirit of selfless giving that we experience the true joy of blessing. Generosity connects us with others and allows us to live a fuller and more meaningful life. The tithing debate, a matter of freedom, not fear. The issue of tithing often generates debate within Christian circles. Some see it as a binding commandment for all believers, while others consider it a guideline for giving generously. The key, I believe, lies in understanding God's heart. God does not desire our reluctant offerings given out of fear or obligation. He longs for our hearts, freely surrendered to Him. Whether we choose to tithe, give more than a tithe or less, our giving should be a joyful response to His love and faithfulness. My giving journey, from legalism to liberation. I too have wrestled with the issue of tithing. For years I adhered to it rigidly, seeing it as a non-negotiable requirement for God's blessing. However, as my understanding of grace deepened, I began to see giving through a different lens. I realized that true generosity flowed from a heart transformed by God's love, not from a list of religious duties. My giving became less about fulfilling an obligation and more about partnering with God to advance His kingdom and demonstrate His love to others. An open heart to God. Beyond the tithe, a life of generosity. Tithing, although rooted in Scripture, should not be a source of guilt, fear, or legalistic striving. Instead of viewing it as an obligation, we should understand it as an opportunity to express our gratitude and trust in God. God desires our hearts, not our money. He seeks a genuine relationship with us, a relationship based on love and trust. He longs for us to experience the joy of giving freely and cheerfully, trusting that He will meet our needs according to His riches and glory. When we give with a cheerful heart, we reflect His love and generosity. So let's approach giving with open hearts, seeking to honor God with our finances, our time, and our talents. Every act of generosity, no matter how small, has a significant impact on God's kingdom. May our generosity be a fragrant offering, a testament to His transforming grace and our unwavering love. May every donation and every act of kindness be a reflection of our faith and devotion. If this message has brought clarity to your heart, type "free" in the comments below. We want to know how this message has impacted your life and your perspective on generosity. Remember, God values a heart surrendered to Him above all else. A generous heart is a reflection of His love in us, and through our generosity we can be a light in the world.